Hey, how about you, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Live Recruiting Show. I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live On3. Today is, for you, it's Thursday, May the 30th, 2024. For us, it's Wednesday night, May the 29th, 2024. So keep that in mind as we move forward with any today's, tomorrow's, or yesterday. Fantastic show. Loaded show tonight. Huge weekend coming up for Auburn. We'll get to all the official visitors. We're going to take questions from the corner, and here to do it all with me, as always, when they're here, they always join me 100% of the time. Mr. Allen Head, Mr. Cole Pinkston. How about you, fellas?
How about you?
How about you, big dog?
All right. Cole, how was Nashville, big dog?
Nashville was great. It was great. First time I've ever been there, first of all. Never been there before. And I'm a country music guy, so it seems like my kind of place. We pretty much stayed around, working the whole time, so didn't get to experience the whole Nashville, thing too much, but got to meet some awesome dudes. I mean, it's a different setting when you're there. You actually get some one-on-one time with them, unlike us being at Auburn. It's more, I mean, they're sitting around playing Madden, and they're doing things like this, and they're more open to talk. And I thought a lot of the interviews that came out of there, all of them, they're just great. So, still throwing some of those up.
Okay. Cole was at the On3 Elite Series in Nashville with some of the, I think, top 50 recruits in the country. Juju Lewis among them, Isaiah Gibson, Naeem Alford, several guys up there that Cole has been rolling out content. If you haven't already, join us at Auburn Live On3. We've got an official visit special going on right now, 1 month for $1. But for you guys, it's 2 months for $1. If you use the promo code capital A, capital U1, AU1, use that promo code, you'll get $2, 2 months for $1. Just don't tell anybody else. It's a secret. It's our YouTube secret. Hey, and all we ask you to do is subscribe to our YouTube channel, man. We're hitting that 10K, big dog. We're eating a ghost pepper. Not really, but we'll do something. I'll take off my hat or something. We're going to do something special. All right, we're going to get to questions from the corner. We'll top any loose ends that may not get touched on throughout the segment with any official visitor news we might have left over at the end of the show. But before we do, you know the drill, folks. If you're in around Auburn, Opelika, Lee County, and you're looking for some real estate help, look no further for the help that you actually will love. Miss Jessica Andrus with the Talents Group, 334-704-4442. A lot of fours in that number, but she's a 5-star realtor. If you don't believe me, just ask her former clients, folks, that make her shirts that says 5-star realtor on it. She's fantastic. Working Memorial Day. We got our family time in. Shoop, right back to working. She does it all, man. She's fantastic. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. If you come to me after using her and say, I was disappointed, I'll call you a liar. I'll call you a liar to your face. And then I'll run like hell because I'm too old to be fighting. All right, give her a call, folks. Jessica Andrus with the Talents Group, 334-704-4442. And, of course, tell her we sent you. All right, fellas, big weekend coming up. 7 official visitors coming in. Lots of, I'll just go over them real quick, man. 5 stars, Caleb Cunningham, wide receiver. 5-star offensive tackle, Project Scholl. 4-star linebacker, Elijah Melendez. 4-star cornerback, Blake Woodby. 4-star tight end, Amari Winston. 4-star defensive lineman, Caleb Edwards. And, of course, Auburn's interior offensive line commitment, Ty Buster, who is currently ranked a 3-star, but we all think he's a diamond in the rough.
There you go.
He's a diamond in the rough. In the rough hills of North Carolina. Actually, I don't think he lives in the hills, but whatever. All right, we're going to get to questions from the corner because we want to know what you want us to talk about, and that's why we're going to do it. We're going straight to the source. Real Owen Smith is going to lead us off tonight. I know we always talk about Julian Lewis being a recruiter for us if we get him, but are there any recruits that could affect his recruitment towards Auburn? No.
Well,
I don't think so.
I'll go back to the interview. I did get to talk to Julian Lewis for the first time. And by the way, dude's awesome. His answers, everything was real thorough. He was nice, personable. Talked to him a little bit afterwards too. Great guy. Talking to him, he was really intrigued by Cam Coleman.
Yeah.
He was intrigued by Perry Thompson. Now, I don't think he'd get to play with Keandre Lambert-Smith, but he saw that happen too, and he was like, wow. He said, now they're going to have that at Auburn. He made that clear. He feels comfortable that they're going to have that. He feels comfortable their roster is going to be good, a good enough roster to win. So I took away two things from that. Number one, he likes that. He's big on that. He wants good receivers. It's important to him. Number two, obviously, whatever they're selling, they're selling a good roster, and it's working. He sees it. He sees it happening.
But recruits, that's what popped in my mind. Recruits, I can't think of anything that would affect his, commitment decision to Auburn. Players, obviously, he loves that 2024 recruiting wide receiver class. But I think it's Alan. Tell everybody what I'm trying to say.
So I think with Juju, you're talking about a guy that's going to be on the field sooner rather than later, regardless of the school that he goes to. So what the current talent base is probably what's most appealing to him, and not necessarily the guys that he's going to be bringing in with him, with the exception of one position. And this position is always one that if you're a quarterback, you're looking to see what each recruiting class brings, and that's offensive lineman each and every time. Who am I going to have blocking for me? A quarterback as talented as Juju is going to be able to throw guys open. He's going to be able to manipulate things in the pocket, use his eyes to freeze guys up. But offensive line, there's not a whole lot you can do with that if you don't have those big uglies in front of you. So I think if there's anything that would probably be appealing to Juju Lewis, it's the offensive line class that Auburn is putting together at this point, and then what they potentially could do if he's to be able to added to this class, and you can pick up a couple of those other big-time players we've talked about, with Broderick Scholl being one of those.
Smitty J jumping ahead about 2 months from Big Cat right now, and he wants to know predictions for headliner commitment.
Ooh.
For that weekend. Big Cat will be July the 27th. That's a Saturday, the last Saturday in July. We're expecting loads of elite talent attending. Perry Thompson flipped to Auburn last year. Marcus Riddick wasn't too far behind. Who else committed last year?
I think DeMarcus Riddick was actually first, and then it was Perry. Perry on Big Cat.
He happened on DeMarcus Riddick committed on the Wednesday before Big Cat weekend. That was what that was the fuse that got it going. I mean, that's the biggest week I've ever covered. Not that I've covered it that long, but that was unreal. I don't know. Can you match it again? I mean, how do you do that exactly?
I'm trying to think of who, Anquan Fegans comes to mind. Could Broderick Scholl pop?
Well, the question is, do they get a commitment on an official visit and go, all right,
back pocket.
Sit on that for a minute.
Very possible. I think that could
absolutely.
But I don't know if you call it a hit. You should, because he's potentially a 5-star recruit as it gets going. But I think Hezekiah Harris is a guy to watch. He's going to be there. 2026 from Anniston.
5-star,
used to be from Anniston. He's from Huntsville now. But I think that's the guy to watch. So that would be a big one. It really would. It may not have the fireworks of Perry Thompson flipping from Alabama, but
sure.
You're going to have to have a commitment, or you're actually going to probably have to have two.
Yeah.
Maybe even one in one class and one in the other, right? Like maybe one from 2025 and then one from 2026. And Hezekiah Harris would be a heck of a name for 2026, but maybe let's stay same position. Herbert Scroggins is a guy that's going to be taking
good one.
A late official visit to Auburn. He's going to be doing it in the fall. So maybe he's a guy that could pop on Big Cat, and then you parlay that into an official visit later on down the line.
I like it.
Speaking of, Jacoby Ward has mentioned August as a potential commitment timeline for him. Maybe they go, all right, well, July 27th. That's a good time too, right?
Close enough, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's see. Auburn fan 17, who is the most likely to commit next?
I guess you got to go with Brody Scholl, considering he's coming in for the official. Could he potentially do it there?
If somebody committed, it would be a surprise because we're not expecting anybody. We're not planning for anybody to commit because June is not a commit month. It's visit month.
Correct.
July is your commitment month. So now you're thinking of, guys that are coming off the board would be, before the summer's over with, would be Eric Winters.
Yep.
Maybe Anquan Fegans.
Those are the two that stuck out to me, Jeffrey. Maybe Okay, let me ask you a question. What happens if you're Alvin Henderson and you see the visit that Usman Chroma just had? Are you worried that you need to secure a spot if you're planning on flipping to Auburn at some point? So maybe it's Alvin. I don't know that. I'm just playing the what if game here, right? We're in the hypothetical game.
I would put him on the list.
I think he's on the list. I think he's on the list for somebody that could potentially do something. If you're looking for names, I think he's the kind of kid that's impressionable. And I think if he does want to be in Auburn's class, maybe you do start to worry, hey, are they going to fill up? Are they going to take somebody else at that spot? And maybe I don't have that option I thought I had to lean back into.
You know, man, surprising guy. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking. I had him on my who could be next to commit list for maybe 5 months in a row.
Yeah.
I guess I need to put him back on there. It's only been about 2 weeks that he hadn't been on it. So,
but I also could see a guy like Amari Winston coming and loving it, going, I'm in, let's go. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying something like that could happen. Blake Woodby, who just decommitted from Ohio State, wanting to go, man, this is where I want to go, making a surprise commitment. So something like that. But as far as guys, I think it'd have to be a surprise. The next one for us until we got to July, head on swivel.
Right. I think we'll start seeing timelines rolled out here relatively soon. So as you get about midway through the month of June, you're going to start to see guys, hey, I'm committing on X date. I'm committing on X date. And we'll, Jeffrey and Cole will be able to roll that out so you guys have a level of expectation of, hey, this is what you're looking at by the number of commitments before we get to Big Cat. But not having those announcement timelines kind of hinders you from, all right, who could be the next to commit. But I think you guys have probably named the ones that come to mind that think, okay, we've heard enough buzz to think they could be close to making a decision, and that decision could be Auburn.
Right. I like it. Trooper Taylor's Towel, who has Auburn made the biggest surge with lately? It's a good question. That's a great question. Biggest surge with. So I'm thinking of visits. I'm thinking visitors. I think, even though he hasn't visited, Alan talked about him earlier, Elijah Melendez, who I don't think any of us gave Auburn much of a chance with him 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. Hell, even last week. I think Auburn's making a surge with him. I think Usman Chroma.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I heard more positive things about him while being in Nashville. You bounce names off of other reporters because all the reporters are there. There's some positive talk about Auburn going on for sure. I'm going to go with Andrew Babalola.
Oh, good one.
That's a good one, Cole.
I think it's pretty much now. He's going to continue to take his visit. I think he's still got Michigan. He's got I can't remember some of the others, but
Stanford.
Well, yeah, he's got Stanford upcoming, and that's who the biggest threat seems to be. But I'm telling you, I have heard some positive buzz about Auburn continuously. So
Oklahoma, Michigan, Stanford.
Yep, those are the top 4.
Obviously, Stanford and the academics, you really can't underestimate that. You just can't. And Stanford's got a pedigree of putting offensive linemen in the pros, too. It's not like they have never done this before.
No, especially in the Jim Harbaugh era when he was there, and then early on in the David Shaw tenure. They recruited offensive line at almost an elite level at times. Right. So I think Andreas Pete and a handful of other guys, I know that Auburn has recruited at one point or another, are guys that they got out there over us. And I'm with Jeffrey, man. Like, if there is one position group as a whole where if they're drawn to academics, it's offensive line. I mean, they just have a lot of smart guys that are offensive linemen. And I'm not saying that because Cole's a former offensive lineman. I'm saying that because it's the truth.
I mean, look at Zach in the back.
I'm telling you, easily the smartest person on this platform.
Oh,
so
not even close.
I'm damn sure at the low end, but we're all right.
Hey, I'm second tier, baby.
I hear you, man.
Hang on, let me go get my glasses real quick.
There you go. We got to up those IQ points. But No, I mean, you cannot, and I think Jeffrey said this last week, count out Stanford for a smart offensive lineman, especially if they're drawn to academics. He is. Michigan will be somebody that's another prestigious university, and I believe their head coach now is their former offensive line coach, so that probably bodes well for them from a recruiting standpoint if that's what you're looking to do.
Yeah.
Let's see. Keat. Auburn traditionally hasn't processed commitments in favor of other recruits.
Yeah, look around on that one, big dog.
do you think that? Yeah. Don't tell Fat Burnett and Jalen Lewis.
No.
Do you think that changes given the level of talent? It's not changing. No, it's Auburn's always done that, and they always will. So will every other school.
Yeah. Now more so than ever. Going back to my
allegedly, Zach in the back,
and now going back to my class prediction, I went back and looked at it. I'm going, are they really going to get 24 guys? And it's so hard to do those for that reason because I think that number is just going to get smaller and smaller. And at one point, didn't we all talk about that number getting bigger because, they're trying to build from high school? But, man, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to go.
I've got mine. I got to roll it out. I've gotten myself, unfortunately, relatively busy at work and haven't had an opportunity to put it up. But I'm 21 to 23 is what I'm looking at, Cole, for a class. And I think that's probably about the size. I don't think 24 is outside the realm of possibility. But this staff is a staff that's very concerned about quality per prospect, right? And they're not going to take someone that they think just doesn't up the pedigree or up the talent level of what you presently have. Now, I think there's a chance in this class that maybe they take more high school than they have been taking to this point just because the amount that you're losing, right? Like I think you've got, 27, 26 seniors. So that's a lot, man. And that doesn't account for any other added attrition you're going to have of guys that are transferring out because they're not seeing the playing time they want, better NIL offer elsewhere, all the other crazy things that you have to, protect yourself on in this present day and era that we live in. Now that maybe some of that's going to be different. House case settlements out. We'll see what that does as far as from a retention standpoint, different kind of contracts that can be signed. But as of today, I think that's still something that you're having to kind of play with one hand behind your back of what do I have to do to retain the talent I need? And then who else decides to dip off the roster? Because that changes your roster management strategy each and every year.
And if you're playing the law of averages, then right now, somebody that's committed will not be in the signing class. That's just the law of averages. I'm not saying that's going to happen with anybody, but Jaden Lewis, Fat Burnett, Martavius Collins, those guys went a long way with Auburn last year committed, and then, you know what happened. So that's you got to watch for that. It's
I agree.
I
forgot about Martavius. Yeah,
and
that was 3 just a year ago.
Yep, he signed with UTEP, I think.
Yep.
And he went from Alabama
to Auburn
under Nick Saban.
Yes,
to Auburn
to UTEP.
Good kid, man. I'm gonna be pulling for him.
He's a great kid, but it tells you that the senior evaluation still matters, and it's why
in-state kids, Fat Burnett and Jaden Lewis. I mean, that's not easy to do for an in-state school.
No, let it, and I think I will be honest here on this one, and I need to give the staff some credit. I feel like their transparency helped in this situation. They were not. They didn't cut the legs out from underneath these kids on signing day. This was a situation where I think they handled it the right way.
I would agree.
And I believe that Hugh's background as a head coach in high school probably aided him in some of those conversations with giving them enough time to make decisions to go elsewhere.
I think they both landed at Tulane, right?
No, Fat landed at Houston with Zach.
Houston.
Reese Baker ended up at Tulane.
There you go.
Reese Baker. Jaden Lewis did too. So
did he?
Did. Yeah.
Okay.
See, this is what's happening now in college football. Those guys have been traditionally good enough to play at Auburn and to stay and sign with Auburn, but now they're falling to the Tulanes and the Houstons. Those teams are going to get stronger for that reason. Now they're losing to the portal, but I think they're picking up even better quality high school players now.
Sure did. Tulane. How about that? All right, let's see what old Robert Dale One's got in store for us tonight. Cole. Do you feel better about CJ Wiley in your mock class after talking to him this week and learning that he's coming to Big Cat?
No. Might feel worse, actually. I think Auburn's in chase mode right now with Georgia, LSU, and Florida State.
Mm.
I don't know. I mean, here's the good news, though. I took this as, if you're looking at it from the Auburn angle, I think this is good news that he's not set a date. He's not set a timeline. He's not even really thinking that far yet. From talking to him, I don't think he's like, okay, this is when I want to get it done. He's still going to take his visits. He's still going to check things out. That's why, I asked him just out of curiosity, why did you take the OV to Auburn so early? I mean, April OVs are pretty rare.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, well, I had already kind of scheduled things for June, and that's just the way it happened. And he said, but might be getting back to Big Cat. So that's it's almost like a second OV, really, if you look at it that way. So we'll see. I don't feel great about him right now. That was kind of made it clear that receiver was a position that I didn't feel great about going into that mock class. I'm like, somebody, I know he's one of the top guys. Let's put him in there for now. We're probably going to have to revisit this at some point, obviously.
Well, Welders AU, which Auburn targets do you think a successful season would most likely push towards an Auburn commitment?
Ooh.
Success on the field breeds success off the field. Who would this impact? Who would a 8-4, 9-3 type season affect the most?
Cunningham. I think that's a guy because he's a kid I think is more open than some initially anticipated. I think there are a lot of schools that think that they're in it with him.
Yep.
If you show that you're on the rise and that your passing game develops, I think he's the kind of kid, especially if he's choosing between, say he's got a great relationship with Derek Nix. Okay. You're showing a progressing passing game. You're on the rise with your schedule. You go 8-4, 9-3. Hey, you're the missing piece. I think he's the kind of guy you can make a move with late. And I don't know that he's necessarily going to be making a decision anytime soon. So you're not having to flip him per se. So he's the kind of guy, the kind of prospect that I'm thinking of when I think, hey, a season's body of work and an improved, win total would probably go a long way with him, contingent on who you're competing against.
All right, let's see. I was trying to think of anybody else.
Maybe Julian Lewis.
I think he's going to make a decision before the season, so I don't know how much that plays a factor.
What about Naeem Alford?
Now that one, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
That, especially if you show progress at DB, and not when I say progress, I mean you just had guys drafted, but say Keontae Scott has a phenomenal year, right? And he's upped his draft status, and he's a second round type draft pick. Auburn goes 8-4, 9-3. In-state schools knocking. Hey, we're on the upward turn. Is Ohio State as appealing now? Maybe, maybe not. But I'm with you. Naeem offers another one that makes a lot of sense to me. Big dogs move late, right?
Yeah. Oh, Buddy Colt. Okay, yeah, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but over under 1.5 commitments. And I'm going to put the week leading up to Big Cat and the week following Big Cat. So there's a 2-week span. The last week in July and the first week of August is what I consider Big Cat commitments. A DeMarcus Riddick getting the fuse lit, Perry Thompson, the firecracker, anybody that leaves 2 or 3 days later to keep the momentum going. Over under 1.5 commitments for those 2 weeks.
I'm going to go over.
Just guessing, definitely going over right now without knowing too much about.
I would put over under at 2.5. That would make me think.
That's probably a better one, yeah.
I think so too, because I think it's real easy to have one in your pocket for 2025 and then get another 2026 kid that gets excited and wants to go ahead and make a commitment.
Yeah.
So 2.5, I would go. I think between 2 and 3 is what I'm thinking. So that's why I said 2.5. In that 2-week span, 2.5. And I honestly, I might go over.
Fair.
Might go over 2.5. All right. Well, we'll see. I didn't get much support there. So let's go to the next question.
I feel good on 2. I'm not going to stretch it to 2
Both
and a
of you
half.
put your hands down.
Well,
Yeah,
and here's the thing.
yeah.
This is what you can't predict. Like, we didn't know this time last year if Malcolm Simmons was going to be a take, right? And then
Sure.
he commits on Big Cat. And I think it could have been one of the better steals of this past class because we all knew what kind of an athlete he was, but the season he put together and how he kind of got on everybody's radar raised his stock significantly. So what kind of guy is there that could potentially do that? That's not a take, right? Is it TK Norman? Is he a guy that
exactly who I was thinking?
You know what I mean? That like they're very impressed with him during camp season. They kind of play it the right way, get him back for Big Cat, and then boom.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like it could be a receiver though, right?
Yeah.
Because there's just not many names out there. There will be more.
Yeah, who do they find in camp season, right? There's a couple of guys that I'm paying attention to that have got some serious P5 attention that are going to be camping at Auburn. And, I'll probably roll those out at a later date, but 1 or 2 for sure that I'm paying attention to that I think could get offers at Auburn, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
I'll see what old married man, old ball and chain, E-Malls, old cabbage munching E-Malls. Your personal top 3 recruiting moments since Hugh Freeze was hired. It can be an actual recruitment or just a moment that stands out to you, like the balcony, 200 kids at junior day. Those are some good ones. I'll tell you, for me, it was Jalewis Solomon.
Yeah.
Man, I was on the golf course. I play golf once a year with my high school buddies, and he was going to South Carolina. Wasn't worried about it. Let's go, fellas. And we're on about the 4th tee or something, and I'm getting calls going, "Hey, it's Auburn," and it was a lot of. I was doing this for about. I think this was like I'm driving for 2 holes, and it was Auburn, and it was South Carolina, Auburn, South Carolina, Auburn. It went. I mean, that was literally what happened leading up. And remember, he postponed it for an hour, and then it was Auburn. So that one jumps out to me.
For me, it's the lead in to Big Cat Weekend this past year. I mean, you think about where Auburn's been and then all the talk back and forth. I mean, I think the Alabama guys on their On3 side, Andrew Bone and Tim, all handled it very professionally. But the fans, kind of the cattiness in between the 2 fan bases of, these guys aren't flipping, they're coming to Bama, so on and so forth. And then for Hugh Freeze to be able to kind of come through, pull that off, it made a statement about where Auburn is in recruiting. It reminded the fan base, like, hey, this is a proud, dominant school, and we can still recruit at a big boy level. And so for me, that DeMarcus Riddick, Perry Thompson weekend was absolutely massive and kind of stamped the start of the Hugh Freeze era for me as far as what was possible in this past year's recruiting class.
Yeah. I have a few. Y'all mind if we spend a second on this question? This is a good one. He
said 3.
Go ahead.
So I think I've said this before on here, but we were all sitting down in the lobby. This was during a camp day. And it was the day, it just so happened to be the day that Joseph Phillips was going to make his commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And even that morning, we were still here in Georgia, almost. Maybe it was the night before when I had put the post up on the corner that I was going to ride with that pick with Auburn. I'd heard enough to where I was like, I think Auburn can win this one. But then when it got close to the decision time, we're sitting there in the lobby, it was going back to Georgia again. And we're like, man, it's a lot like the Jalewis Solomon you just talked about, Jeffrey. And then the graphic pops up, Auburn, Joe Phillips. And you're like, that was the moment for me. Like you were just saying, Alan, to me, that was the moment where I was like, okay, I understand. I see what we're messing with now. And then Josh Aldridge walks through the door. He goes, anything big happen? I just thought that was good. The DeMarcus Riddick commitment was good. I was at the ceremony. That was a good one. Even though I felt pretty good about that one going in and had that pick in for a really, really long time. You always get nervous going to those commitment ceremonies.
Sure.
When they got the hats and you're like, what is this guy about to do? What is he about to do? You just don't know. So that was a big one. And then to me, balcony watch. He mentioned it. E-Moss. Balcony Watch was probably the most fun I've had covering Auburn so far. And I'm pretty excited to see what happens for camp season this year.
I'll give you one more, and it was the juice that we felt on National Signing Day, right? Like the expectation was back at Auburn to compete and land in the top 10. And I can remember doing that live show with you guys, and we've got 40,000 people that are watching us at one time.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And there was just so much energy about Auburn and the
crazy.
expectation from this fan base as far as what was possible. And to be able to flip Amaris Williams, and then it was almost like it was a letdown because nothing else happened, right? Like for some of these guys. And for us, we're sitting there looking at it, and it's a top 8 class, and it's Auburn. And so there's certain fans that are feeling like they're a little bit let down. And you just knew at that point expectation had changed. Like it had changed that Auburn was supposed to recruit at this level again. And I think that's something that this fan base forgot, towards the waning the end of the Malzahn tenure. And then, obviously during the Brian Harsin era, you just were never really in contention with guys the caliber of what they recruited in this past class.
It's true.
Joe Phillips came to mind as me for me as well, but only because he was just so honest with me. Like, yeah, it was Georgia until Auburn offered me more money. And I was like, sweet, dude. Like, yeah, I was going to Georgia, and Auburn called me the day before my announcement and was like, hey, whatever. Well, here's a lot more money.
He ain't never told a lie, Joe. He's honest with it. I love it.
Oh, well, let's see.
Hey,
Dust.
Let me add one more, Jeffrey. This one,
okay.
I don't know if this is a good memory. You were there, but it was a really tough day at work. I'm not gonna lie. On the way to Auburn that morning, Sylvester Smith commits. I have to pull over on the side of the road, get that all done. Get there. Steven Johnson commits, flips from Arkansas. Have to handle that. While we're handling that one, Rivaldo Fairweather's outside talking to us. I literally got my computer in my hand trying to get Steven Johnson. He goes, yeah, I'll be moving in pretty soon. Oh, so you're committed? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm coming.
I'm like, oh, my gosh. How are we going to get all this out? Good gracious.
That was crazy. I remember that. Cole was like, he had his laptop here, his microphone here, his phone was right here.
Oh my God.
That was crazy. That day was wild, man.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Always fun to reminisce. Let's see, Dust. Let's say Auburn is plus 1,000 to win a natty. What does that mean?
I don't really know, honestly.
I don't either. Do you? So like, do I bet $100 or $1 to win 1,000?
That's
right.
I would think so. Yeah, I think that's right. So yeah, you know what I mean. 1,000 to 1 odds.
Okay,
Yeah.
Zach in the back says yes, $1 to win 1,000. Okay, let's say Auburn is 1,000 plus 1,000 to win a natty during the Hugh Freeze tenure. Do you take that bet for $1? Sure.
I mean, I'll do a lot for just $1.
Yeah,
but...
I might even throw a damn Benjamin down. I mean, $100 to win a what?
Yeah,
$10,000, right?
Oh, is it?
No, I guess 10 would be 10,000. That'd be $100,000.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I take the bet.
Yeah.
Look at Jeffrey telling me he put a Benjamin down for that.
Yeah.
Is he asking how much money would you put on it? Is that what he's asking? Maybe.
No, I think he's just saying, do you take that bet? If it's 1,000 to 1 odds that Hugh Freeze were to win a national championship during his tenure here, do you think that one national championship is doable?
Yeah.
How about this? Do you think Auburn wins a national championship in the next 10 years? No reason to think they can't.
No, I think it's possible. Yeah, I do.
Mm-hmm. I think Auburn,
if you continue on the track you're on,
right?
If you continue to build the roster the way it's being built,
mm-hmm.
I think it's possible. 100%.
I think Auburn has just as much of a chance in the next 10 years to win a national title than anybody in the country.
Yeah.
I think the talent will be on par with everybody, all the top teams in the country. I think the coaching staff will be on par with all the top teams. I think they will have just as much of a chance to win a national title, especially if they go playoffs,
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll have just as much a chance, especially with the home field advantage, as anyone to win a national title.
Let me ask you guys this question. Who has to slide on the national scene for Auburn to reemerge? Is it Clemson? Does Clemson have to continue its slide so that Auburn
thorn in Auburn's side?
They
in
have.
recruiting.
If you think about when Auburn's slide started and when Clemson's rise began, kind of that teeter in the state of Georgia and in some of the competitions that you've had in the state of Alabama. You remember Justin Ross obviously was one that the Malzahn group thought they were going to be able to land, and it didn't break our way. So I think that's one that you're going to have to see them continue to slide and Auburn continue to ascend.
Who's the defensive lineman from Columbus or went to Clemson not too long ago?
Oh, you talking about over at Central Phoenix City?
Yeah.
Oh man, what was that kid's
You're not
name?
talking about Peter Woods, are you?
There you go.
And Peter was at
No,
Thompson.
he's from Thompson. That's right.
Thompson, yeah.
Is
No,
that who I'm thinking?
TJ Parker.
TJ Parker.
Tamarion Parker. There you go.
Right. You think about those guys. So
But even still, the kid from Thompson's too.
Yeah,
both of those guys.
Getting those guys out of state. I think Florida's probably got to continue to kind of flounder somewhat.
Maybe Miami.
Yeah.
If you're not thinking SEC, I'm thinking about who are you competing against in the transfer portal market, and it just seems like Miami's always in there. Ole Miss.
Ole Miss is one of those you're going to have to beat them. You know what I mean, to kind of restake your spot in the SEC. I think you're on a 2-game skid against them right now, and that's one of those that you need to beat to reestablish yourself.
Quick update from Zach in the back. Zach in the back said, according to this calculator, if you bet $1, you only win $10. So plus 1,000 are low odds. To put in perspective, those are the same odds Oregon has to win it all next year. Alabama is at 1,400. So that's pretty weak, Dust.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll take those odds.
Either way, I still think, as I said, I'll stick with it. I think within 3 years, Auburn will have just as much of a chance to win a national title as anybody else. Talent-wise, coaching-wise, program momentum, home field advantage. I think they'll be in it every year. Should be.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And it starts with recruiting, as we've always said.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
I don't think Auburn's second to anyone, maybe Georgia, in recruiting right now. I think they can win a battle against whoever they're against. Maybe Georgia is the one they can't beat at the moment.
Sure.
That's the hump
Georgia
you're
kid.
trying to get over.
But they beat. Well, you're still battling Eric Winters. You know, you're
right. That's a big one for perception, right? Like, can you?
So for a while, Phillips, you beat him for Joe Phillips. You beat him for DeMarcus Riddick.
You did. You beat him for both of those kids, in-state prospects. Can you continue to hold serve at home? And then the next step for Hugh is going to be, can you beat Georgia? Because if you beat them, now you've got these prospects' attention, because what Kirby is able to sell over everyone else is the NFL development that he provides and the winning pedigree of coming out of that program, what Georgia can do for you and your stock. Well, to get to the point that you are able to sell your stock over Georgia, you're going to have to beat them on the field, period. And so you have to continue to compile the recruiting classes that you're doing at this point. But at some point, you're going to have to beat them on the field to be able to take it to the next step.
Auburn beats Georgia or Alabama first, next.
Alabama.
I would agree. Yep.
I hear you. I agree. All right. Well, one more time for the visitor list. Broderick Shaw, Elijah Melendez, Caleb Cunningham, Blake Woodby, Ty Buster, Amari Winston. Who am I forgetting? Kalen Edwards. Fantastic weekend coming up. Really looking forward to it, man. Y'all stay locked in to Auburn Live on 3. We've got some how about yous, though, before we close this up. I do, man. I have 9 freaking how about yous.
Ooh. How about you, big dog?
How about you? You know what I mean?
I got 3. Okay. I'll go ahead and give you those.
All right.
Give my man Kid 1, Edward from Selma.
So now let me ask you this: is it Country Kid or is it Kid Country?
I don't know what he is on the board right now. He's changed it a couple times, but
I'll search KIDD.
And one time it was like Kid from the Country. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's changed it like several times, but it's Edward.
I'll figure it out.
My guy Edward, give him 1 for sure. His calls have been on point lately. I have felt like And he backed me up on the Cal thing when everybody was not real happy about that post, which brings me to my next how about you. Maxwell, WDE.
Mm-hmm.
He I made a different post. I don't even remember now. I think it was maybe a recruiting nugget or something. He posted, now these are the kind of posts we want, not that Cal crap. So good call. And then Jack Boys with Z on the end had a suggestion today that we have an Auburn Live daily podcast. And look, I don't know, we may talk about that in the future, but I do appreciate the suggestion, man. If you want to see us that much, I don't know what's wrong with you, first of all, but it's awesome. We appreciate it.
And continue to like and subscribe.
And continue. That's right.
Oh, let's see. Mr. Allen Head.
Yeah, let me go with B-Dye to start with. Sent us a nice Memorial Day message.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, how about you to B-Dye? Ace is full. Want to give him a little bit of love. And then let's go Justin Hokanson and Jeffrey Lee for being able to stuff a 12-year-old in a locker on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. That was a pretty good moment there.
100%. Easily my favorite moment from the weekend. Bow to you, Sensei. Get stuffed in that locker. Here we go.
I was an Alabama fan. I mean, it couldn't have worked out any worse for him. He was like, Jeffrey Lee, are you ever right? And then like 20 minutes later, it was.
What timing?
Oh, I know.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
It was impeccable, man.
Let's see. How about you for myself? How about you Hendo 74?
That's a good one.
Hendo. How about you, big dog? How about you to Uncle Baby Billy?
Oh.
Yeah. How about you, Uncle Baby Billy? I don't know if he's the uncle or the baby. I don't know. Let's see. How about you, Auburn Hooper? Auburn Hooper?
He's made that times too, man.
Okay.
He's had some really good stuff lately. Oh, my emojis are back. Yep.
Auburn Hooper's interesting.
Sign language is back. It's strong here on the show tonight.
Let's see. How about you, LLH5? How about you, Johnny Knox 07?
Yeah.
He doesn't get enough, man. I use his stuff on Twitter, of our show and stuff.
Yes.
I wish I could use his gifts because he's got some great gifts. Gifts, Blake, or whoever it was.
Who was it that called in? And then they gave it the business to Cole for that too, man.
Man. Remember, I caught a stray.
Yeah, you did.
He came on the board later, and I don't remember who it was, but he was like, "Man, you and Jeffrey sound exactly the same on the phone. I'm sorry about that."
Yeah, he was like, "Yeah, Cole."
Yeah.
LH5, Johnny Knox. How about you, big dog? How about you, C Rob 90?
Yeah, that's a good one.
How about you, Tim from California? Remember old Tim from the Call-In Show on Sunday?
Times two. He was
absolutely
awesome.
Tim from Cali. Call in, big dog. Don't be a stranger.
I don't know if you saw that, Alan. He gave us some insight on Caleb Edwards. And he also knows Edward from Selma, and he's from California.
Yeah. That is wild.
Yeah, that's right. You weren't here, were you?
No,
Yeah, we had a dude, Tim, calling from California. Him and his wife went to Auburn. His son goes to the same school as Caleb Edwards.
Yep, plays football.
Plays football with him. And then Tim went to school, or he was originally from Selma. And I was like, Edward? He goes, yeah, I know Edward. You got to be kidding me.
Edward's internationally known. Look at it.
It was a great call. And how about you to Cole Pinkston for posting Kel Ellis got the J head?
Yeah, he did. Cole got me dirty on that one, bro. Dude. Yeah, I like it.
Dude, I lost it, dude. Kel Ellis got the J head. And then my final, how about you? Don't know how it's going to end up. Don't know how it's going to end up. But how about you to the Auburn University men's golf team?
Yeah.
For sure.
By the time y'all are listening to this, you will know, right?
Yeah. They're in match play right now. Like it. Yeah.
So how about you to the kids swinging the sticks?
So Zach, in the back update, Auburn is up 3-2 right now for the national title.
Ooh. Okay. Is that good?
Yeah. That means you're ahead. That means you're ahead in match play.
Is that how the title's decided? Go, don't act like you know what the hell he's talking about.
Yes,
So
So
I'll
I
yeah, 3-2 means they are ahead. Yes.
Yeah.
yeah. So I played golf in high school. So what happens is there's 5 matches, and they have 5 players for each school face off 1v1. Auburn actually has the only point of the match because our guy was up 5 strokes after hole 14. So they just stopped playing because you can't catch up at that point. Florida State leads two of the other matches right now, and Auburn has one guy up 3 through 13 and then up 1 through 12. So as long as they close it out, Auburn should be the national champions.
Ooh.
Zach coming in like the voice of God tonight. You know what I mean?
Zach,
Didn't you see his face?
He never ceases to amaze me, Zach. Played golf.
Well, if Florida State wins, if they pull the Chris Davis, Zach will be the Chris Davis.
I like it.
I'll take it. I'll take it. It's fine.
It's not when the wrong Chris Davis, not the kick 6 Chris Davis.
Right. The other one.
Yeah.
All right, good show, man. If y'all haven't already, get locked on to Auburn Live on 3. We're going to be busy this weekend. We're going to have live threads. We're going to have reports. We're going to have nugs. We're going to have all the coverage wall to wall of Auburn Speak weekend. Stay locked in. Again, Auburn Live on 3. If you haven't already, sign up. AU1. AU1, capital A, capital U, the numeral 1 will get you 2 months for $1. Just don't tell anybody. And like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. One more time, in or around Auburn, Opelika, looking for a realtor. We got her for you, big dog. Jessica Angeles with the Talents Group. Give her a call, 334-704-4442. Tell her we sent you. All right, let's go wrap it up, folks. Appreciate everybody listening. Appreciate everybody watching. We truly do. For Mr. Allen Head, Mr. Cole Pinkston, Mr. Zach in the back who came almost to the front, I'm Jeffrey Lee, man. Y'all stay out of that left lane. See ya.